Why too much attention kills attraction? The paradox, nitrogen monoxide one tells you. There is a dangerous lie you've been taught your entire life. That more attention equals more attraction. That if you give more, text more, care more, be available more, you'll be chosen. But reality doesn't work like that. In fact, the more attention you give, the faster attraction dies. And you've felt this before. At first, they were curious, interested, drawn to you. But the moment you became too available, something shifted. They didn't say it, but you felt it. Here's the truth most people will never understand. Attraction is not built on comfort. It is built on tension. And the moment you remove that tension, you become predictable. And predictable is invisible. Carl Jung once described something deeper about human nature. People are not attracted to what is fully available. They are attracted to what reveals something, but not everything. Because the human psyche doesn't chase what it has. It chases what it doesn't fully understand yet. When you give too much attention, you remove the unknown. You remove the chase. You remove the psychological pull. And without that, attraction collapses. This is where most people destroy their own value. They think attention creates connection. But what it actually does is expose need. And need is the fastest way to lose power. Because when someone feels like they already have you, they stop trying to earn you. And here's the part that hurts. You weren't rejected. You were fully figured out. As your behavior becomes predictable, your value becomes measurable. And once someone can measure you, they stop chasing you. This is why the person who tries less often wins more. The person who is harder to read feels more attractive. The person who is not always available feels more valuable. Because attraction is not logical. It is psychological. And psychology runs on one brutal rule. What is scarce feels valuable. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Too much attention doesn't show love. It shows lack of control. And people are not attracted to lack of control. They are attracted to contained power. If you're always there, always replying, always guiding, always available, you're not creating attraction. You're removing it. And deep down, they feel it, even if they don't understand why. But this goes deeper than just behavior. Because too much attention doesn't just kill attraction. It exposes something about you. Something most people never confront. Something rooted in your psychology, your past, and your need to be chosen. The hidden psychology behind overgiving. Let's go deeper. This isn't really about texting too much or being too nice. That's just the surface. The real reason you give too much attention is psychological. You're not trying to connect. You're trying to secure. Most people who overgive attention are not operating from confidence. They're operating from fear. Fear of losing the person. Fear of being replaced. Fear of not being enough. And here's the part no one tells you. That fear doesn't stay hidden. It leaks. Through your behavior, through your timing, through your energy. You reply instantly. Not because you want to, but because you're afraid of losing momentum. You double text. Not because it's necessary, but because silence makes you uncomfortable. You hibimore, not because they earned it, but because you're trying to secure their interest. And the other person feels this. Not consciously, but psychologically. Carl Jung called this unconscious signaling. When your inner state leaks into your external behavior. And when someone senses that your attention is coming from need, it triggers something instinctive. They pull. How I? Because attraction cannot grow in pressure. It needs space. It needs uncertainty. It needs emotional distance to breathe. But when you overgive, you collapse that space. You remove the distance. You suffocate the tension. And what started as attraction turns into emotional saturation. This is why overattention feels heavy. Because it's not clean. It carries expectation. It carries urgency. It carries silent pressure, and pressure kills desire. There's something even deeper happening here. Something most people never realize. You're replaying a pattern, not creating a connection. Many people who give too much attention learned early in life that love had to be earned. That being liked required effort. That being chosen required giving more than others. And this creates a dangerous belief. If I give enough, they won't leave. But that belief turns you into something else. Not a person, but a provider of emotional comfort. And here's the brutal truth. People don't chase what comforts them. They chase what challenges them. When you become too available, you remove challenge. You remove tension. You remove mystery. And without those, attraction fades into familiarity. This is exactly what happens to the unhealed empath. They become hyper-attuned to others. They give before being asked. They anticipate needs. They overinvest emotionally. Empathy often comes from early conditioning where your needs were secondary, forcing you to read others to survive. So now, you don't just give attention, you overgive identity. And that creates imbalance, because attraction requires polarity, not one person giving everything, and the other simply receiving. The moment you give too much, you stop being someone to discover and become someone to consume. And people don't chase what they can consume freely. They chase what they must earn access to. This is where everything flips. The person who is slightly distant feels more intriguing. The person who is selective feels more valuable. The person who is not always available feels more powerful. Not because they're playing games, but because they're not leaking need. And here's the harsh reality. You're not losing attraction because you're not good enough. You're losing it because you're giving too much of yourself too early. And when someone gets full access to you without earning it, they subconsciously devalue it. Because humans are wired to respect what requires effort. So now the real question is, if too much attention kills attraction, then what actually builds it? What replaces over without becoming cold, fake, or distant? Because the answer I sentito care less. It's to position yourself differently. Stop being available. Become selectively valuable. Now we arrive at the shift. The part most people get wrong. They hear this and think, okay, I'll just care less. I'll ignore them. I'll play hard to get. No, that's not power. That's performance. Real attraction doesn't come from pretending. It comes from positioning. Because the goal is not to become cold. The goal is to become selective. There's a massive difference. Cold people push others away. Selective people make others qualify. And that changes everything. The moment you stop being always available, you create space. And space creates curiosity. The moment you stop overgiving, you create tension. And tension creates attraction. The moment you stop chasing, you become someone worth chasing. This is not manipulation. This is psychological balance. Here's the new rule. Attention should be earned, not given freely. Because when attention is free, it has no weight. But when attention is selective, it becomes valuable. Think about it. The person who is always online, always replying, always there, feels common. But the person who appears, disappears, has their own world, feels rare, and rarity creates desire. This is where power quietly enters. You stop trying to be liked and start deciding who deserves access. You no longer ask, do they like me? You ask, do they qualify for me? That one shift alone separates you from 90% of people. Because attraction is not about impressing. It's about being hard to fully access. Carl Jung's deeper idea of individuation explains this. You become attractive, not when you merge with others, but when you become fully yourself, separate, defined, whole. And most people never reach this. They dissolve into others. They overgive. They overexplain. But the powerful individual does something different. They contain themselves. They don't reveal everything. They don't rush connection. They don't overextend attention. Because they understand something most don't. Mystery is not created by hiding. It is created by not being, as Elia consumed. And this connects to a deeper psychological truth. Speaking or giving too early drains your internal energy and weakens your presence. The same applies to attention. Give it too early. You lose your power. So what should you actually do? Not tactics, not games, but principles. 1. Delay your responses without anxiety, not to manipulate, but to show your life is not centered around them. 2. Match energy, don't exceed it. If they give 50, you don't give 100. You stay balanced. 3. Let silence exist. Silence is not rejection. It is tension, and tension builds attraction. 4. Invest, where it's reciprocated. Attention is not charity. It's currency. Spend it wisely. 5. Build a life outside of them. The most attractive people are not focused on one person. They're focused on their mission, their growth, their world. Because here's the final truth. Attraction is not created by what you give. It is created by what you withhold. Not everything. Just enough. Enough to create curiosity. Enough to create tension. Enough to make someone feel, I don't fully have this person yet. And that feeling is what keeps attraction alive. Final identity shift. You are not here to be always available. You are not here to be easily understood. You are not here to be instantly accessible. You are here to be calm, selective, unpredictable, and internally grounded. Because the moment you become fully available, you become fully predictable, and predictable people are rarely desired. So next time you feel the urge to give more attention, ask yourself, am I building attraction or slowly destroying it? If you master this, you don't chase attraction anymore. You become the one people are afraid to lose.